So it also looks like we don't have as many participants as we usually have, and I'm guessing that is because it's holiday weekend, so I know there are a lot of people that are out of the office. But as usual, go ahead and use that chat feature if you have any questions, and you can send in any question at any time, and then I will frequently stop and take a look at that. So for this morning, again, we are still in full go live. We implemented that enhanced release off master process on August 20th. We have made some changes to that process, and you should have received communications with regards to those changes. So in particular, the punch-out contract, of which the one most people are familiar with is Granger, has now reverted back to that purchase order going into an automatic send process. But the remainder of the enhanced process remains in effect. Everything continues to move forward. We are still in go live, but we do want to thank you for your patience this week as we've implemented that new enhanced process and ended up with glitches, and I think we've been able to, for the most part, work through those. So if you do have any questions about anything related to the enhanced release off master process, please do let us know either through state user or here today. So one of the questions, and that's really what I have for us today, is just kind of some looks back at information where we seem to hear some recurring questions about the same thing. And one of those questions is, what is the difference between the purchase order number and the contract number and the alt ID number? So I think the easiest way, or the most important thing to know about all of that, is that the alt ID in BidBuy is the SAP purchase order number. The alt ID, the only way that that field should be filled is through syncing with the ERP system. So that's an automatic process when you are an ERP agency and you go to sync a purchase order. The alt ID will be filled with the SAP purchase order number. You should not fill anything into the alt ID. But another way to transfer the SAP purchase order number over into a BidBuy purchase order is you can put the SAP purchase order number in the old original or PO number field when you want to do that on a purchase order. And that could be done in the enhanced direct release off master process where you're not synced with ERP, and you do, though, however, have an SAP or ERP number that you want to record into BidBuy. You can put that in the old original contract number. So, you know, typically it's used for a scenario where a contract number exists that was not created by SAP. So that old original contract field can also be used for your legacy contract number. So hopefully that's clear. Let me see if I have any questions. Okay. Someone is saying that the audio is cutting in and out. And someone else is saying that I sound muffled. I've got my volume on full. Can anyone else, can anyone hear me? Is there anyone out there that can hear me and hears me clearly? Someone did say that they can hear me fine. So I'm not sure what it is, but there are some folks that are hearing me clearly, so that's good. But thank you for letting me know. If you are having issues, it sounds like it may very well be on your end. Someone says it sounds distorted. So I'm going to see if I can move it around a little bit, move some things around. Some folks are hearing me clearly and some folks are hearing me distorted. So let's see if that helps any. Someone said maybe their cell phones are too close to their phones. Their cell phones are too close to their phones. Okay, so it sounds like we've got that resolved. Okay. So still on the topic, discussing, I don't see any questions specific to this topic, but so that old original contract or PO number, as I was saying, can also be used to house a legacy contract number. And it can be used to contain the SAP PO number when the legacy is synced. So once synced, SAP will send back the SAP contract number, which populates the Alt ID field regardless if the old original contract purchase order number is populated. So I hope that that's clear, the difference between the Alt ID and how something gets into the Alt ID, as well as how you should use that old original contract or PO number. Another thing that I wanted to point out, and this was a bit of a question that came up from our last training class, we focused a lot on BidBuy and the functionality within BidBuy, but we did not talk a lot about your role as trainers. And so one of the things that I wanted to point out, and we'll continue in the future to discuss, is some resources that are very specific to you as trainers. They're not, BidBuy resources, but they're general training resources. So out here on the trainer support website, there is a general training section, and you'll see that we have sign-in templates that you can use when you're conducting training classes. That's where we keep our BidBuy quick overview. There is a document talking about general training management, how to get prepared for training, considerations as you're working, 6 weeks out from a large training event to 4 weeks out to 2 weeks out. We also include a training survey, and then there are some general slides located in here if you're doing just a very quick overview presentation. So I wanted to point those out for you. And particularly helpful should be this general training management resource document, which will give you a lot of guidance. So if you're getting ready, you're a brand new trainer, you're getting ready to go out, take a look at some of those resources. And again, we'll be continuing to talk on this subject in the future. Something else that has come up on several occasions and was actually something that I know was a little confusing to me in the beginning is the way we use the word master as it relates to BidBuy. So we talk about master contracts and releases off masters and MBPOs or master blankets, and we use the word master in a lot of different ways. So since we've had questions about that come up, I just wanted to go through and talk specifically about masters. So a master contract. A master contract can only be created by one of three agencies. First thing to know about masters as it pertains to BidBuy, and that's by CMS, Do It, or the CPO General Services contract. So in the world of BidBuy, if it's a master contract, it's been created by one of those three agencies. And the key thing to know about a master contract is that more than one agency can place an order against that master. So that's how we define a master contract. Therefore, the next one, which is the release-off master, is anyone who goes in, accesses one of those master contracts within BidBuy, and is going to create a release off of that master specifically for their agency. So they're purchasing off that master contract. The one I think that's probably a little confusing is a master blanket purchase order. So what do we mean when we say MVPO or master blanket purchase order? Master blanket purchase order is a type code, a type code that's on the purchase order, and basically the function of a master blanket PO using that type code is that is the code that's going to sync off your procurement with SAP or ERP. So when you are sending something as a master blanket PO, the intent is to use that functionality to sync with SAP. Okay, let me see. So, someone says, can agencies create masters if approved by the CPO under the UPP? So that is a joint purchase. The UPP, the Uniform Procurement Program, is specifically about joint purchasing. So if you're going to do a joint purchase, if you're going to do something under the UP program, you're doing a joint purchase. Hopefully that helps. And I know, I mean, the language is definitely, there's a lot of words to learn. Okay, so let me know if you have any other questions about that. The end user support process remains the same. I know our help desk has been busy this past week with specifically questions about our new enhanced release off master process, but just continue to reinforce back at your agency that your users should be contacting and working through all of their internal resources before reaching out to us. And agency readiness, slide we always talk about, is making sure that you're continuing, as you're working in BidBuy, to streamline your business processes related to the new processes within BidBuy, especially as we roll out anything that's new. Always come back and take a look at that. I know everyone is continuing to work on approval paths as well as addresses. Your contracts being input, don't forget that all those contracts that are legacy contracts do need to be within BidBuy if they're going to have action in the future. And I know staff training is ongoing, and do ensure that you are actively going through your deactivation process when anyone is no longer eligible to have access to the system. And it looks like I had a couple of comments here. So there's another comment here that says, what's the difference under, and this relates back to the question about UP. Under a state-created UP, multiple agencies and local governments can procure from that master contract. So in the case of an UP, I'm clarifying that the terminology that is used is that you are doing joint purchasing. But truly within BidBuy, when there's the question that says, is this a master contract, that will be answered yes when that contract is being established by CMS Do It or the CPO's office, so in terms of the master contract. We do have, like I said, joint purchasing where more than one agency might be purchasing, but that is not considered a true master contract. Okay. And all of our resources for the help desk remain the same, so nothing has changed there, and please feel free to share that. And our alternative forms, if any of you are still using alternative forms, those are also located in the same location. We have nothing specific scheduled right now for an additional training event, and we are still working on finalizing the BEP process training. So we will keep you informed about that. So with that, I will open it back up and see if we have any additional questions. Okay, thank you very much. I don't see any other questions, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.